Welcome to your 5 minutes of personal and professional development. Today we're going to break down the book Factfulness by Hans Rosling, a book that shatters our preconceived notions to help us see the world as it truly is. What if I told you that the world is a much better place than you think? Factfulness uses data to show us that while real problems exist, human progress is an undeniable reality. This book is a guide to thinking more clearly and making decisions based on facts, not on our fears or biases. Imagine taking a test on global trends, poverty, health, education, most likely, as happened to thousands of people, including Nobel laureates. Your answers would be worse than if a chimpanzee chose them at random. This isn't due to ignorance, but because our brains are hardwired with instincts that helped us survive in prehistoric times, but confuse us today. Hans Rosling, the author, reveals that we often see the world as divided in two, rich and poor, developed and developing. But the reality is that the vast majority of the world's population lives at an intermediate income level. That old division no longer exists. The book introduces us to 4 income levels that help us better understand how people really live. On level 1, you survive on less than $2 a day. You fetch water barefoot and cook over an open fire. On level 2, with up to $8 a day, you can now afford shoes and maybe a bicycle, which changes your life. On level 3, with up to $32, you have running water at home and can afford a motorcycle. And on level 4, you have more than $32 a day. Understanding this allows us to see that most of humanity has already escaped extreme poverty and is on levels 2 and 3 in a process of continuous improvement. Factfulness teaches us to fight 10 instincts that distort our worldview. For example, the negativity instinct, which makes us pay more attention to bad news. The thing is, gradual improvements are rarely newsworthy. Did you know that in the last 20 years, the proportion of people living in extreme poverty has been nearly cut in half? Another is the fear instinct. The media knows that fear sells, which is why news about natural disasters, terrorism, or pandemics dominate the headlines, even if the actual risk of them affecting us is low. Rosling invites us to calculate the real risks and not get carried away by panic. There's also the generalization instinct, which leads us to lump together countries and people that are very different from each other, or the destiny instinct, which makes us believe that things will always be the same and that certain cultures or societies cannot change. But the data proves that there are changes, and very big ones. In the end, the book is a call for realistic optimism. It's not about ignoring global problems like climate change or inequality, but about understanding that we can tackle them better if we start from a fact-based worldview. What we must always remember from this book is the following. First, the world has improved immensely and continues to do so. Don't get carried away by constant pessimism. Second, learn to recognize your dramatic instincts, negativity, fear, generalization. They're mental shortcuts that deceive us. Third, question the news and look for data. Don't just stick with the headlines. Ask for sources and long-term trends. Fourth, abandon the idea of a world divided into us and them. Reality is a continuum with many, many shades. Remember that this is just a brief summary of the potential you can get from this book. Grab a copy by supporting your local bookstore if you want to learn more. Share this summary in your communities and WhatsApp groups to keep the chain of help going. If it helped you, you can make it help someone else. Don't miss the next summary.